He rejected bulking. He said that carbs make you fat, not big. He trained champions who stayed sculpted in the off-season, and he was shredded year-round, long before keto and carnivore become trends. In this video, we will go deep into his off-season and competition diets, what he really ate, what he banned, and how he kept his athletes ripped all year, and why modern bodybuilder lost the art he perfected. By the end, you will understand not only what Vince ate, but also why it works so well. I'm Dr. Nash Jocic, former bodybuilding champion. I've been in bodybuilding for over 40 years. I competed 46 times and won 17 titles. During that time, I also coached over 3,500 clients and helped them to get in the best shapes of their lives. I also published 10 ebooks, which are fully loaded with detailed explanation about muscle growth, fat loss, training for beginners, nutrition, lifestyle change, and everything you always wanted to know about bodybuilding. If you want to expand your knowledge and widen your horizons, please click in the link below in the comments and you can access my ebooks. So Vince Gironda was most influential and controversial trainer in bodybuilding history. He was born in 1917 and he passed away in 1997, but his methods still spark debates today. He owned a legendary Vince gym in North Hollywood, and in that gym he trained people like Larry Scott, Frank Zane, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Don Howard, and Mohammed Maccabi. He was known as the Iron Guru. He was very eccentric, blunt, and brutally honest. I explained much more about Vince in my previous video. His rules were very strict, his gym rules, and he didn't like any excuses. He was very, very pragmatic, and he wanted his clients to simply obey his rules because he knew that they work. What was really unique was his philosophy about food. For Vince, bodybuilding wasn't about calories. It was about chemistry, about hormones and enzymes, insulin, testosterone. He said, you don't build muscles with calories. You build it with the rich food and the right ratios. His diets were very radical at the time, sometimes low to zero carbohydrates, very high in protein and fat, and mainly including eggs, steaks, and cream. And yet his athletes looked like statues carved from marble. He believed that if you want to build muscles and stay lean, you need to understand how food affects hormones, not simply rely on the scale. So let us first understand the principles before we look into his specific foods. So number one, carbohydrates are the enemies of muscle definition. Vince said that if you eat carbohydrates, you're just going to get soft and you're going to retain water, you're going to get smooth and puffy. They fill you with excess water and reduce your muscle tone. Number two, protein and fat, they build muscles, not carbs. He saw fats and proteins as hormone builders. As we know now, testosterone is basically hormone which is built from cholesterol. So if you eat, as many people today eat, very low fat diets, mainly chicken and rice and broccoli, you will, especially if you're a natural bodybuilder, you will deny yourself production of enough testosterone, natural testosterone. Now, number three, calories are irrelevant to food that you eat, to type of food that you eat. So people today, for example, rely so much on counting calories, measuring, using all these different gadgets that offer them exact number of calories, But that, Vince never paid attention to that. None of his champions ever paid attention to calories. They're just focused on right food, right type of food. And he basically said that bodybuilding is 85% nutrition. So you can't out-train a bad diet. This is typical for modern day bodybuilders who, by my opinion, eat wrong. And clearly they have to do so much extra cardio in order to burn fat they have accumulated with wrong diet, which is simply ridiculous and big nonsense. So let me tell you now something about his off-season diet and how to stay lean year-round. So unlike modern bodybuilders who bulk up with thousands of excess calories, Vince's approach was very different. He believed that you should stay lean year-round. He said, why would you destroy your condition just to diet for months to get it back? So you should be always photo ready. You will build more quality muscle that way. So his athletes was usually around 8 to 10% of body fat year-round, so in off-season, which is amazing. I mean, people get to that percentage, 8 to 10%, after dieting for 2, 3, 4 months, just to get in some kind of shape before the show. But his athletes were always there. So the goal was not to just gain weight, but to improve composition and also lean tissue without fat. So how did they eat? You have all heard about his famous diet of steak and eggs. So he said, if you want to get ripped, eat steak and eggs, nothing else. So now let us see what is the typical diet, long-term diet, not his competition diet, and what is made of. So he would suggest 3 to 4 meals per day. Each meal would be half a pound of steak and 3 to 4 eggs. All that should be cooked in butter. And optional would be small raw salad with olive oil and vinegar. No carbs, no sugar, no milk. So that's it. Zero starch, zero fruit, zero grain. He used this diet both for leaning down and also maintaining condition. So every 3 to 4 days, he would allow carb refeed, maybe 1 or 2 days of clean carbohydrates like potatoes or oatmeal. So we know that we call this, nowadays, we call it cyclical ketogenic diet. But long before we have understood scientifically how this diet works and how it can help you to stay in shape year-round, Vince knew that instinctively in 50s and 60s. So for those who need more calories, Vince would advise his egg and cream diet. So each meal would be made of 6 whole eggs and 6 ounces of heavy cream blended together. And that will be 6 times per day. So this will be 36 eggs per day and over a liter of cream a day. So this is for people, for hard gainers who need more calories. So more calories for these people who need it will come from eggs and cream. Sounds crazy, but it worked. So the idea was to create a high-fat anabolic environment without insulin spikes. It provided dense calories, cholesterol for hormone production, and also perfect amino acids for muscle repair, while keeping the body in fat-burning state, because no carbs, meaning no insulin spikes. Even modern science supports this theory now, and something that Vince knew from his own experience. He said the yolk is the most anabolic part of the egg, and never throw it away. There is another type of diet that he recommended, and this is the version of temporary bulking plan. So this was not traditional high carb bulk, but his recipe was half a pint of whole milk and 6 to 12 raw eggs. So you blend this and you drink it 3 times a day. So this type of diet will be limited only for 2 weeks, because he was saying that too much milk softens the body. It is only for quick gains. After that, he switched his clients back to steak and eggs plan to restore muscle hardness. So what you need to understand is that Vince didn't have diet like one size fits all. So he had different moderations of his basic principles, which are high fat and high protein, in order to offer calories for people who need them and offer best amino acids from eggs, obviously, in order to boost their progress. But for some others, for 2 weeks, for example, this milk and eggs diet, which is 3 shakes per day made of 6 to 12 raw eggs with a half a pint of milk, whole milk obviously, were only for another injection of calories or slightly different food. So there is no one size fits all. Vince was very instinctive and he knew that people are different. There are people who react better, people who need more calories, people who gain muscle easier than others, some gain muscle much harder. So he allowed himself that creativity to offer different options to different clients. So don't confuse this with known diet of Vince Gironda, like his eggs and meat and eggs only. Vince also advised his clients to use supplements. So the supplements that he prescribed were, first of all, desiccated liver tablets. This is especially for iron, for B vitamins, and amino acids. So basically desiccated liver, right? So liver was very, very high in all these nutrients, with especially vitamin B12 and iron, which are directly related to hemoglobin and oxygen transportation, which is crucial for our metabolic health and metabolic functions. Also, he would advise amino acid tablets, especially arginine and ornithine pre-bed for growth hormone release. Vince would also suggest digestive enzymes to improve protein absorption. Also kelp tablets for iodine and metabolism, because iodine is very important for thyroid hormones and helps thyroid gland produce T4. And also glandular extracts like liver or thyroid concentrate. So all these supplements were actually always gearing up towards that optimization of high quality protein, amino acids, no carbohydrates again. And this was something that it would help, especially with enzymes, digestive enzymes, to help you digest protein better. He also used raw apple cider vinegar and lemon water before meals in order to improve digestion and acid balance. He warned against vegetable oils, saying that they will ruin your hormones and skin tone. So he is referring to polyunsaturated oils, which modern research also links to inflammation and reduced testosterone. This diet is absolutely linked to his training method. So don't forget that Vince's training method, as I explained in the previous video, was high number of sets and 5 to 6 times per week. So 20 sets per muscle, 6 times per week. So this diet will work for people who are obviously following his training regimen. So this is not something that average Joe can just do it and get in amazing shape without training, as Vince has suggested. So bear that in mind. This is absolutely superior fuel for people who are training extremely hard. He said you can train harder on fat once your body learns how to use it. So we know nowadays that people who are on ketogenic diet or carnivore diet, they are performing extremely well because their bodies adapt and they start using fat as the major source for energy, not carbohydrates. Now, when it comes to competition diet, to get shredded, the diet is more or less the same, but is much tightened, because whatever people would eat, whatever he advised, was obviously keeping them in decent shape in the off-season. But this time, in order to get shredded, Vince would change the diet. So he said, if you diet properly, your skin should look like a cellophane over the muscle. So his definition diet was basically based on steak and eggs, and that's it. And this is taken to extreme. Basically zero carbs. And this would be 3 meals per day, meat and eggs, eat as much as you want. Basically, he would allow you to eat as much as you want, knowing that you will not be able to eat more than, let's say, 1 pound of steak and maybe 5-6 eggs in one sitting, because we simply have that natural regulator, and we feel when we are satisfied and full when we eat protein and fat. This doesn't apply to eating carbohydrates. This is why you can always overeat carbohydrates and eat them in abundance without any physiological ability to basically stop, because you don't have that control mechanism, those sensors which will stop you eating carbohydrates. But when it comes to fat and protein, this is the case. So this diet means no milk, no cheese, no cream, no nuts, no fruit, no sauces, nothing. Just pure protein and fat. You eat your meat and you eat your eggs. Every 3 to 4 days, he would allow 1 serving of carbohydrates. So that serving of carbohydrates should be enough to replenish your glycogen and also to keep your metabolism, especially thyroid hormones, going. And you would say, stay away from bread, because if you eat 1 slice of bread, you will hold water for 3 days. So if we were to take some lessons from Vince's principles of diet, his type of diet, they will be the following. Number 1, no bulking, no bloating. So in the off-season, year-round, you have to eat healthy. You have to eat meat and eggs. If needed, you will be suggested diet on eggs and cream, or eventually milk and eggs. But the diet doesn't change much. Then the next principle is control insulin. So insulin is directly related to fat accumulation. So if you eat too much carbohydrates, you will obviously produce too much insulin, and you will store most of these carbohydrates into the fat stores. In order to avoid that, carbohydrates are eliminated for most of the time, and the diet that has been advised will keep insulin low. So basically, you have no chance to get fat year-round if you follow Vince's advice. The number 3 principle is that fats are anabolic. He knew that when you eat fat, you will obviously optimize production of your testosterone, while if you are avoiding fats, opposite will happen. So this is the very important principle of his diet. Also, number 4 principle is simplicity works. So basically, diet is very simple. There is nothing complicated. No new foods, no processed junk foods. Only steak, eggs, butter, water, that's it. And also, the number 5 principle is discipline. And he said, if you cannot follow the diet, you don't deserve the body. So basically, you need to understand that all these principles will never work if you're not consistent, if you're not disciplined. Because if you don't follow this, and you start diverting from the main road, basically main advice, nothing is going to happen. Now, let me tell you a few words about that famous carb meal, because a lot of people want to know, what is that carb meal? How much carbs? When? What type of carbs? So now I will unravel to you how was that done? How would he suggest people to carb load, refeed? And you will understand actually that, again, this is nothing out of control. This is nothing unproportional. So basically, every 3 to 4 days, he will recommend 70 to 100 grams of carbohydrates in one meal, right? So never more than 120 grams of carbs. And this is for advanced athletes. Don't forget that. Training 6 days per week, 20 plus sets per muscle group in one session. So what type of carbohydrates he advised? So he would advise 1 medium bowl of oatmeal with honey. Also 2 medium sweet potatoes. And in the same, or 1.5 cup rice, cup of cooked rice. So if you have, let's say, 150 grams of dry oatmeal in a meal, that will be around 100 grams of carbs with a bit of honey. Or if you want a bit more honey, then 100 grams of oatmeal, which is 70 grams of carbs, maybe 1 spoon of honey on the top, that's 100 grams of carbs. And this is around 400 calories, just enough to refill liver glycogen and top up muscle without kicking the body fully out of fat adaptation. So if you want 100 grams of carbs in sweet potatoes, that will be about 2 sweet potatoes probably, and or maybe 1.5 cup of rice. So this, when it comes to frequency, will be every 3 to 4 days. But obviously, this is again individual, because some of the people, like for example Mohammed Makawi, who was absolutely shredded. We remember him or Mr. Olympia when he placed, I think, second or third behind Lee Haney, that Mokavi he presented conditioning that we haven't seen until then in bodybuilding, and he would carb load every 5 to 6 days. So again, depending on the status of fitness, of physical abilities, of mental strength, people would carb load maybe in 5 to 6 days instead of 3 to 4. And people who were less conditioned, who couldn't really cope without carbohydrates, Vince would put them to carb load 1 meal only with 100 grams of carbs every 3 days. So when it comes to timing, he would advise that this carb meal should be evening meal on a rest day, because that way glycogen stores will refill overnight without triggering overeating the next day. And in his words, eat your carbohydrates late in the day, you will go to sleep satisfied and wake up harder. So food that he approved for carb loading, as I mentioned, would be oatmeal, yams or sweet potatoes, brown rice or wild rice, whole oats, and sometimes vegetables like carrots or beets. But in the carb loading meal, there should be no sugar, no fruit juice, no milk, no bread or pasta. So remember, this is very important, this selection of carbohydrates. Also, in the meal with carbohydrates, Gironda would advise to his athletes to eat 3 eggs and maybe some black coffee or lemon water. So he still wanted you to have some proteins and fat and amino acids, obviously, in the eggs, but not too much. So this meal is not high in protein because it's high in carbohydrates. The only protein and fat that should come will be from 3 eggs. And by keeping these carbs to about 100 grams with protein and fat, he would be moderating the insulin response. So his goal was obviously to allow fullness and vascularity to return next day, no bloating or water retention, and fat metabolism reactivated after 24 hours. Because if you eat carbohydrates, your body will switch back to carbohydrates, and if you eat too much, it will push you back. So it will take you much longer to reactivate your fat metabolism, basically to start running on fat again. So this is why there is only 1 meal every 3 to 4 days, for some advanced athletes 5 to 6 days, and only 100 grams. So he would say, you will notice you look better, not worse, the morning after. This is how you know that the amount of carbs was right. But if athletes wake up in the morning and they look soft or puffy, that means that they have eaten too much carbs. So you see, when I advise people on carbohydrates, I said that you shouldn't be more than 150 grams a day. So this is not that far from what Vince would advise his athletes, to eat 100 grams of carbs every 3 to 4 days. I think, guys, you probably get a message from this. So let me wrap it up for you. Vince Gironda methods were extreme, but they worked. He shaped some of the greatest bodies in history of bodybuilding. As I mentioned, Larry Scott, Frank Zane, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ron Howard, Mohammed Mokavi, and many others. And not with drugs, but with discipline, precision, and science, long before the modern science as we know now existed. So he believed that bodybuilding is not just training. Yeah, just a reminder for many new bodybuilders, but is an art form, the art of controlling your metabolism, your hormones, and your appearance with food. So you see how much emphasis Gironda put on food and dieting. He believed that bodybuilding is 85% nutrition. So if you want to apply his principles, as I always say, you should adapt them to your own abilities, your own standards, because what I have mentioned was what Vince Gironda was advising his clients, his athletes to do, and he was doing this himself. So if you are training hard, if you're in the gym 4 or 5 times per week, maybe some of these principles may help you. If you implement them wisely into your program, into your nutritional programs, and maybe adapt them a little bit, but the principles are always the same. So high protein, high fat, low carbohydrate diet, controlling insulin, and being disciplined. Guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, send me your comments, and also don't forget to visit my website. As you know, I've published 10 ebooks which are fully loaded with everything that you want to know about nutrition, about muscle growth, fat loss, competitive bodybuilding, training for beginners, lifestyle change, and if you want them, if you want to expand your knowledge, just click on the link in the comments and you can access them. I also provide other services, so if you're interested in them, please watch this video in which I introduce my other services, the ways that I can work one-to-one with you and help you to get in the best shape of your life. So until the next video, I wish you all the best.